Hello and welcome to this general election debate for candidates for Congressional District 9, representing much of western Arizona, including parts of Maricopa, Mojave, and Yuma counties, as well as La Paz County. This debate is brought to you by Clean Elections, the state's nonpartisan voter education agency. My name is Kathleen Bate, and I will be moderating tonight's conversation. Our format will be a little bit different tonight. We're hosting a 30-minute one-on-one discussion since only one eligible candidate, Democrat Danielle Sturbinski, has agreed to participate. Her opponent, Republican Paul Gosar, has not responded to our invitation to debate. We are sharing this conversation as part of an effort to support democracy in Arizona through a partnership with the Citizens Clean Elections Commission, the Arizona Media Association, and Reister. It is a partnership designed to make candidate debates accessible to everyone in Arizona, and that means this conversation will air on a long list of local television stations, radio stations, digital platforms, including support from local newspapers. It is a shared effort between hundreds of local media brands across Arizona, and we want to thank you, the voters across the state who have submitted questions for this debate. We've reviewed all of them to make sure every voice is heard. However, the candidate has not been given advanced access to any of those questions. Additionally, this candidate will participate in a speed round at the end of tonight's conversation. These questions have been given to the candidate ahead of time. She has 15 seconds to answer each one. With that, let's hear from our candidate, Danielle Sturbinski. We welcome and thank you for being here. And to start, you have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you to everyone at home tuning in. My name is Danielle Sturbinski, but please call me Danny. I'm a Navy veteran, a working mom, and an Arizona neighbor from Whitman. I served as an operations specialist aboard a destroyer and deployed to the Mediterranean. That same ship recently returned home after supporting combat operations against Iran. After serving the Navy, I earned a master's degree where I focused on organizations and teams, how to make them more effective and better at serving people. When I look at Congress, I see a dysfunctional team, and that dysfunction has real cost here at home with what people pay for housing, healthcare, and childcare. I believe people, regardless of party, deserve a chance to get ahead, build something stable, and something stable for their families. And that is why this campaign is powered by neighbors who want practical solutions over partisan politics. I'm not running to build a career in politics. I'm running because too many politicians, including my opponent, are out of touch with Arizona voters. And I've served my country before, and now I'm asking for a chance to serve it again.
All right, Danielle, and you prefer to be called Danny, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Let's start with the reality of the stage. You talked about Paul Gosar, your opponent, who declined our invitation to debate. If he were here, what is the single most urgent question that you would demand he answer to the voters of District 9?
Great question, Kathleen. I would ask our representative, who do you serve? Do you serve the executive branch or the people of this district? Because recently, his priorities don't align with our current needs.
Well, if a voter walked into the booth then come November and they're looking at his 15 years of experience in Washington, and you're a newcomer, but you're also a veteran and a mom, and they're torn between those two backgrounds, what do you think is the most important difference that should make them choose you?
Great question. I live the same reality as the people going to the polls. I work a full-time job outside of this campaign, and I look at the same bills that my neighbors do every month. I'm in touch with what Arizona voters need. The current incumbent is not.
Well, let's look at some of the political headwinds and the realities of what you're facing here in this district. You're a political newcomer. You're up against a 15-year incumbent in a heavily red district. And you mentioned this. Another political reality is that Paul Gosar is a fierce ally of the president. And the president remains popular in this district, although his polls are underwater in other places. Why should a local voter who backs the president's national agenda choose a newcomer and a Democrat over the endorsed candidate, over the candidate he endorsed for Congress?
Absolutely. I believe that we have to choose someone who serves the people and acknowledges that their job is the voters of this district. That is who we are supposed to serve, not the executive branch. The legislative branch is the people's branch, and we need to be accountable to you, the voter, not the executive branch.
All right, well, let's talk about the cost of living and tick off some of the things that are really squeezing local residents across the state of Arizona and in District 9. You have spoken about restricting institutional investors and Wall Street equity firms from buying single-family homes. You also support the Road to Housing Act. Your opponent, Paul Gosar, opposes housing regulations, calling them red tape and bureaucracy, arguing that it could actually stifle new construction. So how do you respond to the critics who worry that a ban could stymie housing development, which is something that is needed in some locations because of the housing affordability crisis? And what concrete steps would you take to ensure that the funding from that Road to Housing Act would actually go to first-time home buyers?
Yeah, so the 21st Century Road to Housing Act was recently passed by the House and the Senate, to which the first pass in the House, Representative Gosar voted no. After it played legislative ping pong between the House and Senate, Representative Gosar didn't show up to vote for that. That bill has passed, but it's important to note that the funds for that, the $200 million that's been allocated for that, hasn't been approved or passed in any budget yet. So we have someone right now who didn't bother to show up to even vote for it. How do we know our current representative is going to show up and ensure those funds get to District 9? I would agree that zoning should stay a local issue, but we need to build more workforce housing, senior homes, starter homes, and provide first-time or first-generation homeowners down payment assistance, because that's truly what's keeping people from buying homes, is that down payment. And my generation, millennials, are on average, we're not buying a home until 40 now, and that's about a decade past what our parents paid for homes. And that's how we build generational wealth, by building a home and a stable future.
Well, you mentioned seniors, and there's a sizable community of seniors in District 9, and they're all living on fixed incomes, and the utility bills that are rising are really squeezing them. Your opponent, Paul Gosar, wants what he calls a total fossil fuel dominance to lower energy costs. You favor a mix that expands solar and also upgrades the grid. Why is your approach a more reliable and faster way to bring down monthly utility bills?
Great question. I do support a mixed, sustainable source of energy. We can look at solar, nuclear options, and fossil fuels as well. But we need to slowly phase towards clean energy because we are in a real climate crisis, and we're not seeing our utility bills get any lower. In fact, APS recently suggested that they want to raise our rates by 16%. Now, it's important to note that the Arizona Corporation Commission, they set those rates. Congress does not, but there are initiatives that we can do in Congress to help lower those costs at homes for families, and that will be my priority, is to lower our everyday cost.
Is that priority number one if you are elected to Congress?
Absolutely. To lower the bills that we can't avoid, our basic cost of living bills, that's my priority. The number one priority would be childcare.
All right, well, let's talk about education then really quickly. I know you have a daughter who's entered kindergarten, so you're getting your first foray really into the system firsthand. In this district, you know that the ESA vouchers are very popular, but there's the whole debate going on that they drain public funds from the public schools, and that for rural families that aren't necessarily in major metro areas or suburban areas don't have the luxury of having physical private school options where they are. So if you go to Congress, do you plan to cap or restrict a voucher program that thousands of your potential constituents rely on and actually enjoy?
Great question. So I want to be clear about the job I'm running for. Education is typically a local and state issue. So the ESA vouchers, that is going to be a state issue that our legislative body will need to hash out. I do believe the ESA vouchers are draining the funds for our public school. Just in 2025, $1 billion left our public school system for these ESA vouchers. I think that ESA vouchers can be a good thing, especially for children with special needs like they were originally put forward for. But without guardrails, we're draining our public schools, and we see that all over our state with schools closing, teacher retention low, Our per pupil average for students is lower than average, and that shows with our test scores being 49th, sometime 50th ranking in the United States.
Well, you're talking about fiscal oversight, and that is certainly something that was headed to the ballot and as you mentioned, is a state issue. But the Arizona Supreme Court just pushed it off, Prop 212 off the ballot, so it's now out of voters' hands. And as you mentioned, state audits revealed staggering amounts being misspent in different ways. So seeing that the issue is officially now out of voters' hands, is there something you can do realistically at the federal level to ensure that those tax dollars are being spent the way they're intended? Is there anything at that level you can do?
I know that there are some federal legislators working to rein in vouchers. That wouldn't be my priority with school. I'm going to leave that to the state legislators, who I have the utmost confidence in. My focus for education on a federal level would be first reinstating the Department of Education, ensuring that we have enough funding for Title I schools. And most importantly to me, we have a teacher shortage in Arizona, almost 4,500 vacant seats. Federally, we can amend and expand Teach Grant, and this will allow more teachers in our pipeline to go to school, graduate with the least amount of student debt as possible, and get into the classroom to be with our students and ensure that they're receiving a high-quality education regardless of their zip code.
All right, let's turn to healthcare now. That's another thing that has become very expensive and really caused a lot of families to make some very difficult choices, especially in Arizona, where as many as 300,000 Arizonans have either dropped their health care or have left their plans altogether. Congress allowed the temporary premium tax credits to expire, and your opponent, Paul Gosar, voted against extending those subsidies, calling them expensive and a temporary pandemic measure. So what is your intent to help out residents and who are facing those difficult choices right now after that vote? And what kind of immediate relief would you be advocating for these people who are sitting there with these medical bills that they can't pay?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe healthcare is a basic human right. Affordable healthcare should be something that is accessible to all of us. So extending or bringing back those ACA subsidies to lower people's premium would be an important priority of mine, but I also think we need to go a step further, offer a public option so people aren't relying on employee-sponsored healthcare, because sometimes we're staying at jobs that don't pay livable wages just because we have health insurance. Think of the innovation we're stifling just because people need health insurance and they're afraid to still go to the doctor, even with health insurance. One step further, we can reform pharmacy benefit managers. They're those middlemen, and a lot of times they don't pass savings off to the client, or excuse me, the patient in this case. So they have hidden fees. Hospitals charge us for sometimes basic care, and they're making wealth off of our health. So reforming pharmacy benefit managers, offering a public option, and extending those ACA subsidies until we can lower the cost of health care so that more people have coverage and can focus on preventative care, which will save us money in the long run.
Well, healthcare also a really big issue for veterans in your district, and there's nearly 79,000 veterans living in District 9. Your experience is unique as a Navy veteran. You've probably been on both sides of that system and have maybe faced the problems yourself. But I'm wondering if you've witnessed potential solutions as well. Everyone says they want to reform the VA. What are the concrete steps you would take from your vantage point to improve care for veterans?
Yeah, I think it's important to highlight and give credit where credit is due. The VA has seen some improvements recently. The average time it takes to process a disability claim has decreased, and it's average now about 70 days. And if you've ever applied for disability with the VA, 70 days is a big improvement to some 100+ days I've waited in the past for my own claims. So let's give them credit there. I think the biggest issue with the VA right now, especially in CD9, is rural health care and access to that care. We have veterans delaying care because realistically they're going to spend hours in their car to travel to specialty care. On average, they're traveling about 18 miles more than their urban veterans, and that costs us time and money and is a deterrent for a lot of veterans to delay care.
And what is your argument against your opponent's stance? Paul Gosar has consistently voted to trim VA federal jobs in favor of private sector doctor vouchers.
Great question. I don't want the VA to be privatized. I want to expand clinical staffing, telehealth, and community care when it's applicable, so that way we don't have long wait times and we can get care when we need it. But cutting staff to the VA is not, in my opinion, the option there when we already have backlogs on care or specialty care. I spoke with a veteran at their door recently who told me they called for a mental health appointment. He is diagnosed with PTSD. He called for a health appointment and they said, that's great, we can see you in about 40 days. Now, mental health can be a crisis for some veterans. We have a high veteran suicide rate in our nation. That's unacceptable, waiting 40 days. So of course, for that veteran, I reminded them they can advocate for community care because sometimes that's not explained to them in a way that they know what's available to them. So I think educating our veterans, expanding the knowledge of what the VA can offer people is where we can start. But the VA is improving in some regards, and I think that we need to continue to fund the VA so that veterans can get the care that they have earned instead of continuing to fight for it.
Let's dig a little deeper on the mental health and veterans, because you've been talking about that out on the campaign trail. You've called for the end to the war in Iran that's now going on 6 months. As a Navy vet, you recently spoke out about the mental health and deployment crisis happening on board the USS Abraham Lincoln. You yourself were on a guided missile destroyer, so you probably have some experience of what those deployments are like. You've called for an end to the war in Iran. Your opponent, Paul Gosar, recently this spring voted not to place limits on presidential war powers. So as a veteran, what is your approach to de-escalating the war in Iran? And where do you draw the line when it comes to presidential military authority compared to Congressman Gosar?
Congress has the power to declare war, not the executive branch. And that's the most important detail that I think our representative has forgotten with support of this war. We're at 6 months in this war with Iran, and we're basically at a stalemate with no solution forward. I'm always going to lead with diplomacy, but we do need to have a serious conversation about the financial implications of this war, what it's costing us to be there, what it's costing us, our service members and their health, and get them home as soon as possible. I did speak recently about the USS Abraham and the conditions on that ship. I do want to highlight that some of those conditions aren't new, and that the public, I think, or the media has heightened the conditions because of the political climate we're in today. The conditions of sailors need to be improved now and previously. It's something that we should take with great care because of the long-term implications that this could cause some of our sailors. And because if they are suffering now, then that's honestly just more money that the VA may have to give veterans in the future because of disability claims. So taking care of our veterans now is an investment in our future. We need to ask ourselves what this inaction is costing us in the long run.
All right, let's turn our attention to water security. That's very top of mind in your district, in particular Western Arizona. Under this new 2-year federal operating plan that was just released that I think most Arizonans are trying to wrap their brain around right now, a 31% cutback in the allocation of Colorado River water. Your district includes Yuma County, the winter vegetable capital of the country, alongside farming hubs in Mojave and La Paz County. So what is your immediate reaction, first of all, to that new framework regarding the Colorado River, and what is your plan to protect agriculture in District 9?
Yeah, my immediate reaction is that Arizona got the short end of the stick there. I understand why we took the agreement for consistency or just predictability, so we don't take future cuts, and that's kind of why they settled on the agreement right now. I would push for shared proportional cuts between all 7 basin states, not just the lower basin, so that would be my first priority. Yuma agriculture farmers in Yuma, they're incredibly effective with their water use. So we can't have this water conversation without talking about agriculture, but they use the water they have, and every year they're being asked to do more with less. So we need to have a serious conversation with all 7 states to ensure that Arizona isn't taking the short end of the stick, because we are taking the largest cuts between the lower basin states, about 760,000 acre feet, I believe, per year with that agreement.
And there's high anxiety among generational family farmers. Is there something in particular that you're going to do to try and protect their livelihoods and what they're up against with the conditions of the water?
We can't ask our farmers to take any more cuts. I mean, Yuma feeds America. So I don't think that we can even have a conversation about taking water away from them. It's paramount that they have the water that they need to continue our supply chain throughout the country.
Well, let's stick with Yuma for a second, because we know that's a border community and border security and immigration a high priority in your district. You framed immigration as a crisis of resources and operational strain rather than an ideological war. As a Navy veteran representing a border community like Yuma County, where local law enforcement is often maxed out and their budgets as well, what has your military experience taught you about securing a border or the best practices to do so and protecting local budgets in the process?
Yeah, we need a secure border, but we also need to reform the system behind the border. We have a immigration system that is systemically broken right now. The funding that we've given to ICE could be used to reform that system, hire more administrative judges, expand the court's capacity, and have a system that works for people. It's also important to note, since we're on the topic of Yuma, that many farmers using the H-2A visa come across the border daily to work in our farms, and they help feed America. So it's important that we allow them to have a pathway to work here and to help us in positions that maybe we need more labor for. Another important aspect to note on that is we need to modernize our ports of entry and ensure that DACA recipients have a pathway to citizenship, that people are treated ethically and with dignity. Border crossings are down, and I think that it's important to give credit when credit is due. But now that border crossings are down, we need to shift our focus, fix the immigration system, and stop kicking that can down the road.
And what is your message to Yuma voters who feel that Paul Gosar's hardline stance is the way to send a message?
Yeah, so Paul Gosar introduced recently H.R. 6374, and that proposed a mandatory 10-year moratorium on all immigration into the United States. Now, the language was written so broadly that it lacks exemptions for guest workers, and that would potentially cripple our Yuma agriculture industry. So I think that it's important to note that I show up for Yuma, I show up for our farmers because they feed America, and we need to not overlook them and the work that they do.
Let's quickly touch on election integrity. Given that many of your potential constituents in the district support Paul Gosar's repeated challenges to the system, he was the lead lawmaker objecting to Arizona's 2020 electoral votes in Congress. He actively pushed to decertify the state's results. He is a leading co-sponsor of the Save America Act, something critics call voter suppression. How do you build trust with voters in your district to assure them that mail-in voting and in-person voting is secure?
Yeah, absolutely. 80% of Arizona voters vote by mail. I have complete confidence in Arizona's election system. We use paper ballots and post-election hand count audits. In fact, the recent primary election, we had 22 bipartisan boards that counted those to ensure that they're accurate. So I think that voter identification is a reasonable request. And, you know, I vote on voting day. I do fill out my ballot at home. I like to sit down with my computer and research every candidate, regardless of their party. I make an informed decision about the policies that they hope to push forward. I like to do that research, but then I take my ballot in person. And they ask me for my ID, which I don't have a problem with. I would oppose the SAVE Act if it's requiring voters to purchase a passport if need be, because that is a poll tax and that's unconstitutional.
All right, well, we are now going to shift into the speed round. And these are questions that you've been given ahead of time, and you also have 15 seconds to answer each one. So what is the first word you want voters to associate with your leadership?
Accessibility. I show up for people, I answer calls, Republicans call me and say, hey, I saw your sign. I want to know who I should vote for. I call them right back. I've met them for coffee. I will show up because that's part of the job.
Well, what is the one thing you wish that Washington understood better about your district?
There is no one-size-fits-all for CD9. It is a vast district, as you mentioned, spans 4 counties, and each district has different needs. That's something that we can't take blanket statements back from Washington to CD9 voters because it's not a one-size-fits-all district.
Well, what is the one way your ideology differs from the mainstream of your Democratic Party?
That's a great question. I support the independence of Arizonans and am not beholden to a political party. I am a proud Democrat, but I support moving away from the 2-party legacy system, which many voters may disagree with, but George Washington warned us of the divisiveness of the 2-party system, and I think that we've seen that in recent years. So I would be supportive of having more options on the ballot.
What is one issue that you are prepared to work across the aisle to address?
Childcare. That is not a partisan issue. There has been a lot of partisan political mismanagement in Congress that we are paying for. I would work across the aisle with anyone on any topic as long as it has long-term solutions for our district and for Americans, but my focus will be on childcare and lowering the cost because that's workforce infrastructure, not just a family benefit.
All right, let's move to your closing statement. You have 1 minute.
Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you to Clean Elections for hosting this session today, and thank you to the voters for tuning in. If you take one thing away from this conversation, it's that I want to work for you because I don't believe we're getting what we're paying for right now. My opponent was invited tonight and didn't come. He has missed more votes than any representative in the Arizona delegation. And when your representative doesn't show up, that means your voice isn't heard. I've served this country before, and now I'd like to serve this district by lowering cost for what people pay here for housing, healthcare, and childcare. And it means that this seat answers to the people of Arizona, not a party or corporations. If you have questions, I'm accessible. Please reach out. You can go to our website, strabinskyforcongress.com, give me a call, send me an email. We can have a conversation. I make myself available because that's the job. I hope I can earn your vote on Tuesday, November 3rd.
All right. Thank you so much, Danielle Strabinsky, for being here today. And that's all the time we have for our one-on-one conversation. For the candidate of District 9, on behalf of our partners at Clean Elections, the Arizona Media Association, Reister, and Sneaky Beak Studios, good night.